Welcome back to our channel, where we gather to share our deep love for the incredible stories of Port Charles. Today is a truly beautiful day to sit down with a warm cup of tea and unpack the latest dramatic twists that have kept us glued to our screens. We always appreciate our wonderful community of longtime viewers, and we cannot wait to dive right into today's deeply emotional discussion. For those of us who have followed the intricate webs of General Hospital for decades, we know that the most compelling storylines are often born from the darkest, most unimaginable circumstances. Recently, we have been forced to witness one of the most harrowing psychological and physical horrors imaginable, as Drew Kane was left completely trapped within his own body. The sheer terror of locked-in syndrome, of being fully aware of your surroundings but entirely unable to speak, move, or defend yourself, is a nightmare that resonates deeply with anyone who understands the fragility of the human condition. We watched with bated breath as Drew desperately attempted to blink an SOS signal to Liesl Obrecht, a silent plea for salvation from a man who has already survived so much trauma in his life. But what makes this situation truly devastating is the heartbreaking revelation of who put him in this paralyzed state. To see Willow Kane, a woman who once embodied the pure, angelic virtues of a dedicated teacher and nurse, descend into such a dark and morally bankrupt place is a tragedy that has shaken the very foundation of her character. It is a stunning fall from grace, and as a longtime viewer, I find myself both captivated and horrified by the depths to which Willow has sunk. Yet, in the midst of this profound darkness, a beacon of unexpected redemption has emerged from a character who has often been her own worst enemy. Nina Reeves has always been a woman defined by her intense emotional vulnerabilities, her tragic inability to maintain healthy boundaries, and a desperate, sometimes suffocating maternal instinct. But what we are witnessing now is a monumental shift in her trajectory. The revelation that Nina has discovered the truth about the paralytic drug keeping Drew incapacitated is a turning point of epic proportions. When Nina realized that her own daughter Willow was responsible for this monstrous act, the psychological weight must have been absolutely crushing. How does a mother reconcile the pure image of her child with the reality of such a calculated, cruel crime? This is the kind of deeply layered, emotional storytelling that General Hospital does best. Nina is not just reacting, she is taking a profound moral stand. I am absolutely fascinated by the narrative decision to have Nina actively intervene to stop the drug that has been keeping Drew locked in his own body. This is not merely a medical adjustment, it is a profound act of spiritual and physical salvation. By secretly halting the administration of the paralytic agent, Nina is effectively breaking the chains that her own daughter placed on Drew. It takes an incredible amount of courage and clarity for a mother to look at her child's sins and decide that she must be the one to undo them. Nina is stepping into a role of a silent savior, risking everything to correct a catastrophic wrong. The brilliance of this storyline lies in its quiet intensity. Nina is not making grand public declarations. She is working in the shadows, carefully and methodically altering Drew's medical regimen. Replacing the paralyzing drug with a carefully managed regimen of sedatives is a masterstroke of both medical strategy and narrative tension. Nina understands that Drew's brain and body have been subjected to unimaginable stress. By transitioning him to sedatives, she is not just waking him up, she is giving his system the necessary time to heal, to rest, and to recover from the trauma of being a prisoner in his own flesh. This action proves that Nina is ready and willing to implement a massive change in Port Charles, starting with the redemption of her family's dark actions. I find myself asking, is Nina doing this purely out of guilt for her daughter's actions? Or is there a deeper, more strategic awakening happening within her? The answer, I believe, is a complex mixture of both. She is saving Drew, but she is also desperately trying to save Willow's soul by preventing this crime from becoming a permanent, fatal tragedy. This medical intervention sets the stage for one of the most unexpected and thrilling alliances we have seen in years. As Nina works to heal Drew, we are simultaneously watching the explosive chemistry and strategic alignment between Nina and Jack Brennan. Brennan is a man who demands absolute control, a dangerous and opportunistic figure who understands the dark underbelly of the world better than anyone. When Brennan realized that Nina was not the one who drugged him, the dynamic between them shifted from suspicion to a profound mutual intrigue. There is a palpable electricity when these two share the screen, a recognition of shared survival instincts. For years, we have watched legendary power couples dominate the landscape of Port Charles, couples who blend romance with a ruthless drive to protect their own. Now, we are witnessing the birth of a brand new power couple in Nina and Brennan, and it is a development that has the potential to completely rewrite the power dynamics of the city. The concept of Nina and Brennan as a unified front is incredibly compelling. Brennan brings his extensive, lethal background with the WSB, his tactical brilliance, and his unapologetic ruthlessness. Nina brings her deep, intricate connections to the most powerful families in Port Charles, her immense wealth, and a newly forged, ironclad determination to protect her loved ones. Together, they represent a formidable force. I cannot help but marvel at how far Nina has come from the fragile woman who was so easily manipulated in the past. She is no longer a victim waiting to be rescued. She is a queen stepping onto the chessboard, aligning herself with a king who respects her intelligence and her fire. This partnership is not just about romance. It is about survival, strategy, and the absolute necessity of securing their future against overwhelming odds. And those odds are currently embodied by the terrifying reign of Jen Sidwell and Ross Cullum. These two men have unleashed a wave of unchecked violence and psychological torment upon Port Charles. They have violently abducted Liesl Obrecht, forcing her into a desperate situation on Spoon Island, and they are orchestrating the horrific psychological breakdown of Jocelyn Jacks. The threat they pose is existential, not just to a few individuals, but to the very fabric of the community. The authorities seem outmatched, and the usual protectors of the city are either distracted or compromised. This creates a massive vacuum of power and security, a void that Nina and Brennan are perfectly positioned to fill. What makes Nina's current storyline so breathtaking is her grand, overarching strategy. She is not just reacting to the immediate threats, she is mobilizing a massive counteroffensive. By healing Drew, Nina is actively restoring one of the most capable, resourceful, and physically imposing men in Port Charles. Once Drew is freed from his sedative state and realizes that Nina was his savior, his gratitude and his inherent need for justice will make him an unstoppable ally. Drew has the resources of Aurora Media, he has a deep background in combat and intelligence, and he has a personal vendetta against the darkness that almost consumed him. Nina is brilliantly positioning herself at the center of a powerful triad. With Brennan's lethal tactical expertise on one side and Drew's restored strength and resources on the other, Nina is building an army capable of completely obliterating Sidwell and Cullum. This represents a staggering evolution for Nina Reeves. We are watching her orchestrate a war, calculating every move with a cold, precise logic that we have rarely seen from her. She is taking the pain, the betrayal, and the chaos that has surrounded her and forging it into a weapon. The idea that Nina will be the one to stabilize the volatile situation in Port Charles is a brilliant subversion of our expectations. Traditionally, we look to characters like Sonny Corinthos or Jason Morgan or Laura Collins to save the day when the mob or the WSB brings terror to our doorstep. But Sonny is entangled in his own complex web of blackmail and family drama, and Laura is constrained by her commitment to legal channels. It is Nina, the unlikely strategist, who is stepping into the breach. She is willing to operate in the gray areas, utilizing Brennan's dark methods and Drew's righteous anger to achieve a singular goal, the absolute destruction of the men who threaten her family and her city. As an experienced television critic, I must applaud the writers for this intricate, multi-layered narrative. It takes immense skill to weave together a medical mystery, a psychological thriller, and a high-stakes power struggle into a cohesive story. The pacing of Nina's awakening has been deliberate and deeply satisfying. Every time she administers those sedatives to Drew, replacing the poison with medicine, she is reclaiming a piece of her own agency. She is proving that she is not defined by the mistakes of her past, nor is she defined by the horrific choices her daughter has made. Nina is defining herself through action, through courage, and through a fierce, uncompromising will to protect. We must also consider the profound impact this will have on the broader canvas of the show. When Drew finally awakens and the truth of Willow's actions comes to light, the fallout will be catastrophic for the Corinthos and Quartermain families. Michael's dark machinations, Willow's fall from grace, and the shattered trust will leave deep scars. But standing amidst that wreckage will be Nina, strong, resolute, and flanked by Jack Brennan. They will have proven themselves in the fires of this conflict. The destruction of Sidwell and Cullum will not just be a victory, it will be a statement of absolute authority. Nina is securing a new order in Port Charles, an order where she is no longer the outsider looking in, but the architect of the city's security. This storyline forces us to ask difficult questions about the nature of power and redemption. Can a woman who has made so many devastating mistakes in the past truly become the savior of her community? Does aligning with a dangerous man like Brennan compromise her moral victory, or is it simply the pragmatic necessity of surviving in a ruthless world? In my view, the beauty of General Hospital has always been its exploration of flawed humanity. Nina is not a perfect hero, and that is precisely why her current journey is so captivating. She is a mother desperately trying to clean up a mess that threatens to destroy everything she holds dear. She is a woman finding her true strength in the darkest of hours. By saving Drew from his bodily prison and aligning with Brennan to face down pure evil, Nina is writing a new, triumphant chapter in her legacy. I, for one, cannot wait to see this powerful new triad execute their master plan and bring a much-needed, hard-won stability back to the tumultuous streets of Port Charles.